Let me get past. I mean, there are few fibs that they've told.
No,
number
there
one,
is no place where you will get that.
Number one, most guys don't get.
Scholars, there is no place where you will get a story. You will get an analysis before the reportage is done.
Right, thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the lesson. A few things that you got wrong. First, most people don't get their news from the newspapers. They've seen it. They've had it on radio. They've had it on
radio reports from what they get in the newspapers.
You know, actually, no.
Yes.
The radio is way ahead of the newspaper.
But radio is
the newspaper comes out the day after.
At what point does this guy say? When he says the media, he means newspapers.
I mean, no, I mean all of these.
Gentlemen, we can only have one at a time. When you talk about let's have some order. Gadara, when you talk about the media, are you specifically talking about newspapers? So are you saying radio have broken the story?
Yes, what I'm saying is the media in general, that is inclusive of TV, including of
radio, newspaper, social media.
And actually social media is part of it, because a lot of our newspapers put on their breaking news, etc., on social media. They're not dumb to do so. They know that a lot of guys will get it there. They put it on radio. They know. They don't wait till the next day to put it on radio. You know. So the thing is, when you look at across the entire spectrum, and then you ask, why is it that a day after the events happened, we are still being fed as if we are on day one? You know, they are still operating. I mean, these terms that they use, day two journalism, which come from the time of when print was the preeminent thing, and because it was being produced, you know, once every day, once a week, you know, it's day three actually by the time you get day two journalism, you know, and you want to do that now. I'm saying that is wrong. That that actually is.
All right, I think we'll have to agree to disagree on this one, because Gadara is
totally wrong.
He's totally convinced that that's what it should be. Although from what I'm getting with social media here, again, social media, there seems to be quite a number of people that agree with Gadara. But I want us to move the conversation on and look at another big story this week, which has been the mass voter registration by IEBC. Let me start with you, Mwenda Kilemi, and this is in regards to whether we have given out enough information to the electorate as to what is happening.
I think we need to analyze first that, you know, they already registered before. What do you think, Gadara?
Let's hear from Ben.
You want me to answer?
No, I'll come to you.
I think it's starting out well. The report started out well. I'm just worried about the politicizing of the registration with what is happening with the opposition and the current government all having their own opinions about the whole process. And I would just hope that the media is able to give us the facts and they're not confused by all the noise that comes around with such an emotive issue to Kenyans. So as we move forward, I just hope we can report on the facts so that people do not find a reason to disqualify or justify what's happening based on what side of the divide they stand on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crispus?
Well, I would say so far so good, because I've been following the stories that have been churned out from ever since IEBC declared that they wanted to enlist probably 8 million voters in this mass registration. But I think right now what the media should be focusing on is actually the challenges that are coming up as we roll out this process, which is very important. And I think looking at the TV channels, I think Citizen TV has started doing that, and I'm glad. I actually saw they went to the villages trying to find out how easy it is actually to access the so-called BVRs. But it is unfortunate. The media might be caught in the politics of the day, which is something that we really must try and move away from. Having said that, I think there is another important story that I think the media should be focusing on, and that is actually the police reforms. Because even as we approach the elections, the police is a very important institution. And we've seen the circus that has characterized the National Police Service Commission, the claims of my life in danger and whatever. But I think right now what we need to be aware of is that we actually run the risk of the reforms that were much hyped about going the route of the judicial reforms. it will be very
So
unfortunate.
you think that's a story that we should be looking at now, even as we look at the voter registration
Absolutely,
and as we
absolutely,
get closer
absolutely.
to
The other thing is actually the state of the health sector in the country. Yes, you saw what is happening at Mama Lucy Hospital. About 4 children have died in the past 2 weeks or so. I think these are the stories that we must really find a way of telling, because they mean a lot to society.
Okay.
Yes.
Clay?
We should probably find a way of analyzing them, because now reporting has been banned.
Yeah, we need to move forward.
Anyway, I think the IEBC thing, I mean, it's been going on, and there was a time actually when I mean, people, IEBC was being accused of doing this thing, and they were saying that they did not have enough money to sensitize the people, to tell people that that the voter registration is going on. And I think so far, like now that the uptake has been the uptake from the media, I mean, it has been quite positive, in as much as it's almost all media houses are actually talking about it and actually reporting about the voter registration and all that. What I'm not sure about is this: we keep on talking about 4 million voters, that are targeting 4 million new voters. One thing that
actually there are 8 million, I think.
Well, it's divided into two. The 4 million is in the 1 month,
4 million.
then 8 million by the time we get to
but you see, one thing we're not saying is that actually there are already 14.4 million who are already registered or something like that. You know, this other number, it's like there's a number here that we're not talking about.
Concentrated on the 8 million.
We are the so-called new voters and all that. And then there's also other aspect, like, okay, fine. What you're not telling people is also, like, you actually can change where, if you registered probably here, you can go and register somewhere else. I don't think that is an offense, because you can change your area of voting. So what we keep on talking about, I think there's some aspects of the voter registration that actually we're not putting out to the people, are not being told. And I think this is also miscommunication, probably from the IEBC, from the body itself, because it keeps on talking about the 4 and the other 4, the 8 million. As it comes to politicization, come on, this is a political process. This is a process. I mean, you're not going to take this thing and stay with it at home. I mean, you're not going to use it as an ATM card for it. Is we're getting these voters cards to actually elect politicians, as you see. So this idea of saying, like, let's not politicize it.
No, Clay, what we are saying is, let's try to balance, because it is important even for the media to start doing what we call voter education. It is very important. So as much as it is a political process, Clay, let's try to balance the issues so that even the common person is not lost in between.
May I?
Yes, you may.
Okay. I'm glad that Clay has noticed that there is some things that the media is actually not saying about the.
I work in a media house. I know the problems more than you do.
Let me finish. The fact that they report that we are having 8 million or 4 million people being registered is not in itself sufficient. You know. The other thing for me, in addition to what has been said here, is I would really be asking whether the media is questioning the things that went wrong in 2013 and whether they have been fixed. We went into an election where, by its own admission, the IEBC says it does not know how many people it registered. It does not know how many people voted. By its own admission. This is not things I'm saying, you know. It has said by itself. Nobody, when it says we're registering
for 2013.
Yes. When they're saying...
There were so many admissions.
That will be like day 1,000.
Okay, let's give him a fair chance. Let's give him a fair chance to
When it says, I mean, when it says, okay, today now we are doing a new registration drive, we want 4 million guys. You know, my question is, have you fixed the things that were wrong with 2013? You know, have we had a review of that process, and has it been fixed? We got new BVR kits, etc. The last ones we had, we put them out, somehow they didn't work. You know, after we had supposedly registered people on them. Have we tested these new ones? Where are those stories? You know, for me, this idea that we just report IBC is doing that because that's what they told us. You know, this is what we keep doing. We don't go back, and that sets us up to a situation in 2017. If things do go wrong in 2017, we start acting surprised, as if we could not have thought about it. It could never have occurred to us that things go wrong, even if they have before. and we should have learned from that experience. You know, I don't see in any of the reporting that our media has actually learned any of the lessons that came out of 2013. That's my problem.
Okay, Mwenda Kilemi, are we not digging deep enough again, we've gone back to the same issue that Gadara had brought out, that we're just reporting what we've been told?
I think we're getting away from what the original question was how is the reporting going on? And the good thing for Gadara is that we have time. So all these questions can be answered. You have raised it. There are major media house members over
there. But do you agree with him
so
that there needs to be deeper analysis
the only way
of what we have?
There can always be deeper analysis. You can always go further, another level down. But you have to start somewhere.
Actually, when you use the word deeper,
You see, the only way to actually assist what Gadara is probably talking about, like, it's like probably, I think maybe the media needs to conduct a mock election and test the BVR kits.
Back to the original question.
Asking the question doesn't mean that you have to go physically and
okay,
test
fine.
it
I
yourself.
ask.
But this is my thing: is when you
have you tested the BVR kits?
Go
and
there
tells
and
me
ask.
yes.
You know, go and find out where did you test them. You know, can we have some people to interview who actually carried out these tests? Where did you procure them? What was the process of procuring them? These are questions that the media, I would assume, would. I mean, it's obvious.
Can you
that
put all these things in a cartoon? Can you put all these things in a cartoon?
I think I don't think we need one given what has been expressed here.
Let's hear from Mwenda.
I think the original question was how the process has kicked off and how the reporting is.
And the information to the electorate.
Yes, and that everybody agrees is happening well. Now, other questions regarding the analysis or issues that happened in the past will come in later. I'm sure these questions will be asked because these questions, if they're not answered, could be made political. And it's in the interest of the media who want us to be informed for them to give us these answers. So I am very positive that these are questions that will eventually be answered.
That in 2013, they weren't actually asked until we went to the election and things failed. That IEBC sat and had a demo where they called the media and their things failed. And nobody asked, nobody followed it up. They kept quiet till it went
cool down.
and messed up an election. I mean, when you tell me to calm down, what annoys me is the blasé attitude towards failures that actually in the end lead to people dying. Actually, in the end, lead to societies that are polarized, people who are annoyed, because our biggest security risk is not terrorism. It's a stolen election. That is what almost finished this country. Okay. And when we act as if it doesn't matter,
I think it would be good to use maybe flawed election because flawed election.
Okay, call it flawed. Fine, that's all right. But my point is that is our biggest. In fact, it's an election that doesn't have credibility. An election where people don't believe that result. And when you guys don't ask the questions now, you say wait till later. You will find out that later comes too late.
Okay. Point noted.
Actually, before 2013, or in the run-up to 2013 elections, is that you see, Gadara has these 1,000 questions. He wants all of them asked. Okay, I think there are very many questions about BVR kits and even the procurement, how they were got and all that, which were asked in the run-up to 2013 elections. Some of these questions were asked. You know, every time you ask a question, another question will always arise, you see. And the thing is, we cannot ask all these things at once, all these questions, because, yes, now I go and ask Isaac Hassan, have you tested this BVR kits? He says, yes. Show me where. He shows me maybe Kilifi. I go there and try these things. Okay, fine. What they took in Kilifi could have been the working ones. Okay. What about what they took to Mandela? What about what? You see, so all these questions, yes, we keep on asking them. So for you to say that in 2013 no questions were asked, that is a lie. So many questions were asked. I remember personally, I mean, about all these things about BVR, kids failing, all these things, how will they be powered, and all these things. All these things were asked. It's only that the failure was monumental.
We need to wind up. Time is not on our side. I'll need your closing comments, Crispus. Make them brief.
Yes. Thanks, Mike. And it's really unfortunate that you want to end the discussion
when it's just begun.
When we actually haven't looked at a very important exercise, what is happening in Uganda.
Correct.
It is very unfortunate that today we are witnessing an election that is actually involving one of the longest serving despots on the African continent, which is very unfortunate. And to me, as far as that election is concerned, I think the results are well known, and it will be surprising for me to see an outcome which is not going to go the Museveni way. But having said that, I think it is unfortunate, typical of human nature, that the political society in that country has not sat down to process the issues and present a candidate who is formidable, who can take on Museveni. Not that even Kizza Besigye is any better, because anyway, he belongs to the octogenarian society or regime that cannot offer anything different. I think for the media in this country, it is important for us to start now localizing the Uganda story.
Sorry, we'll have to, the director tells me we're really out of time and we'll have to close it right there, because yes, I also wanted comments on Uganda, but we still have a show next week, so we'll see how the polls will have gone. And unlike that, I'm sure who wants us to chambua it right here, right now.
No, actually, Gadara wants us to analyze the results of Uganda election.
He wants to analyze the results right now.
Right now.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll have to wind it up right there. And that is Clay Muganda, who is an editor with the Standard Group. We also have Patrick Gadara, who is a communications expert or consultant, Crispus Yankem, who is a media commentator and also communication consultant. Last but not least, Mwenda Kilemi, who is a lecturer with the University of Nairobi in the communications department. That's where we're going to wind up Newsroom, but do stay with us. News Hour is coming up shortly.